7 things that become meaningless after 70. Have you ever wondered what happens when the things you've worried about your whole life suddenly stop mattering after 70? As we age, our priorities shift, not because we give up, but because we finally gain clarity about what truly deserves our time, energy, and peace of mind. There's a quiet wisdom that comes with age, the kind that can't be found in books or advice, but is forged through living long enough to know what really counts and what never did. In this video, we're going to talk about 7 things that just don't matter anymore after 70. These aren't just philosophical ideas. They are truths grounded in experience, backed by psychology, and echoed by seniors across generations. If you've ever felt pressured to keep up or hold on to things that no longer feel meaningful, this video is for you. Each of these 7 things has probably been a source of stress at one time or another. But now, they don't need to be. Not because you're too old to care, but because you've earned the freedom to let them go. And that freedom doesn't mean apathy, it means clarity. Knowing what no longer deserves your worry makes room for what truly matters: health, purpose, connection, and peace. So if you've ever wondered when life starts to feel lighter, not because your load disappears, but because you learn how to carry it differently, stay with us. These 7 insights might not only confirm what your heart has been telling you, but also give you permission to walk through the rest of life with more grace, more confidence, and a lot less unnecessary weight. Let's begin. Number 1. Other people's opinions. There was a time in your life when what others thought of you held real weight. Whether it was how you dressed, the job you had, the car you drove, or even how you raised your kids, outside judgment could feel like a measuring stick for your worth. But after 70, something shifts. You begin to see those opinions for what they are: fleeting, inconsistent, and often rooted in other people's insecurities rather than your own truth. You realize that living your life to satisfy others doesn't bring peace, it only delays your own happiness. Take Kathy, for example. At 74, Kathy from Phoenix, Arizona, used to hesitate before doing anything that felt too different. She worried about what her neighbors might think of her newly cultivated garden or what her family would say about her decision to take up painting again. But one day, she caught herself asking, why does it matter what anyone thinks? That question stuck with her, and the more she lived by it, the more freedom she felt. Now, Kathy wears bright colors, plants what she likes, and displays her art, even if it's a little messy. You know what? She smiles more now than she did in her 50s. Letting go of the need for approval doesn't mean becoming indifferent or rude. It means honoring your own voice above the noise. It means understanding that people will have opinions no matter what you do, and they'll often forget them just as quickly. What sticks is how you feel about your choices. When you lay your head down at night after 70, you've lived through enough to know you can't please everyone, and trying to is a recipe for frustration. This isn't about isolation, it's about liberation. You become more selective about whose voices you allow into your life. And that's a good thing. The opinions that matter most are from those who love you, not those who barely know you. And even then, you have every right to make decisions that serve your health, happiness, and peace of mind, regardless of what others may think. There's a quiet power in walking into a room and not wondering what anyone thinks of you. It's not arrogance, it's wisdom. Number 2. Trying to follow trends. There's a certain pressure in our culture, the kind that whispers you should always stay current, stay sharp, stay with it. Whether it's fashion, technology, or the latest lifestyle fad, there's an unspoken expectation to keep up, or risk being labeled as outdated. But after 70, that pressure loses its grip. You begin to see how shallow most trends really are, how quickly they rise and fall, and how little they actually contribute to your joy, comfort, or sense of self. Let's look at John, 79, from Des Moines, Iowa. John used to wear whatever was popular at the time. If the jeans were tighter, he bought tighter jeans. If the phone got smarter, he upgraded, even when he didn't need to. But it wasn't until he bought a pair of soft corduroys that fit just right and returned to reading paper books because he loved the smell and feel of them that he realized something. He didn't care about being trendy. He cared about being comfortable. He cared about being himself. That shift gave him more peace than any new gadget ever had. Trends are designed to make you feel like you're missing something. They sell urgency, a belief that if you don't act now, you'll be left behind. But once you cross a certain line in life, you see clearly that the only thing worth chasing is what serves you. If a style flatters you, wear it. If a new tool makes your life easier, use it. But never feel obligated to change just because someone else says it's the new thing. There's dignity in choosing timelessness over trendiness. There's strength in honoring your own rhythm. At this stage in life, you've seen enough styles return full circle to know that what's in today was out yesterday and might be back again next year. That's not a game you need to play anymore. You've already won the one that matters, knowing who you are and what makes you feel good in your own skin. So wear the shoes that support your feet, listen to the music that soothes your soul, and decorate your space with what brings you peace, not what's popular. Number 3. Regretting the past. We all carry a few moments we wish we could rewrite, a missed opportunity, a harsh word spoken, or a decision we might have handled differently. Regret is one of those quiet companions that tends to follow us through the years. But after 70, something softens. You start to see your past not as a list of mistakes, but as a roadmap that led you exactly where you needed to be. And the more you reflect, the more you realize that everything you've lived, both the joy and the sorrow, has shaped your depth, your strength, and your wisdom. Take Don, for example. At 82, Don spent years replaying a decision he made in his early 40s. He turned down a job that would have paid more because it meant relocating. For decades, he wondered if that was the wrong move. But now, sitting in the same home where he raised his children and watched his grandchildren grow, Don understands something deeper. That choice, while uncertain at the time, gave him stability, presence, and a life filled with relationships that still matter. In hindsight, what once felt like a regret now feels like a blessing in disguise. Regret loses power when you meet it with compassion. At 70 and beyond, you've earned the right to stop judging your younger self. That version of you was doing the best they could with the knowledge, resources, and emotional capacity they had at the time. And just like you wouldn't scold a child for not knowing algebra, you can learn to stop scolding your past self for the things you didn't know then. There's freedom in saying, "That happened. I learned from it. I'm still here." It doesn't mean you forget. It means you integrate. You take the lesson, the growth, the scar, and let it inform your choices now, not punish you. Number 4. Comparing yourself to others. At some point in life, we all measure ourselves against someone else. It might start in school. Who has better grades, better clothes, more friends? It often follows us through adulthood. Who has the bigger house, the longer marriage, the more successful children? But after 70, the urge to compare begins to lose its grip. You start to see that every person walks a path filled with hidden struggles and silent victories, and that no two lives are ever really alike. Not in journey, not in timing, and not in meaning. Take Mary, for example. At 76, Mary used to scroll through social media and feel small. Pictures of old friends on vacations, celebrating anniversaries, or holding their grandbabies made her feel like she had missed something. But one afternoon, she took a walk through her garden and realized she was comparing highlight reels to her own quiet, meaningful life. She had health, freedom, and a few dear friends she could call at any time. That moment changed how she viewed her story, not as lacking, but as uniquely hers. Comparison is a thief. It doesn't just take your joy, it steals your focus. When you're busy looking sideways, you forget to look inward and forward. And while someone else's life may look shinier or easier from the outside, you never truly know what they're carrying. After 70, you begin to realize that success isn't about reaching the same milestones as everyone else. It's about peace. Number 5. Pushing your body beyond its limits. In earlier decades, many of us believed we had something to prove about strength, stamina, or simply our ability to keep up. Whether it was lifting heavy things without asking for help, working through pain, or pretending not to feel tired, we often ignored our body's quiet requests for rest in the name of pride or productivity. But once you reach 70, a new kind of wisdom settles in. You realize it's not weakness to slow down, it's wisdom. It's not defeat to rest, it's respect. And it's not lazy to protect your energy, it's an act of self-preservation. Take Henry, for example, 80, from Austin, Texas. Henry used to insist on mowing his own lawn every week, even in the summer heat. He told himself it was good exercise. But after a dizzy spell one afternoon landed him at the doctor's office, he realized something had shifted. His body wasn't asking him to stop. It was asking him to listen. So, he hired a local team to help. Now, Henry still enjoys being outside, but from a chair in the shade, sipping iced tea and chatting about baseball while the lawn gets trimmed. He didn't lose anything by stepping back. He gained peace. Number 6. Holding on to grudges. There's something heavy about resentment. Even when it's buried deep, it lingers quietly, coloring your thoughts, draining your energy, and keeping parts of your heart closed off. In younger years, holding a grudge can feel like a form of protection, like if you stay angry, you're guarding yourself from being hurt again. But by the time you reach 70, you start to realize how much those old wounds cost you. And suddenly, the energy it takes to stay angry just doesn't seem worth it anymore. Phyllis, 79, had a falling out with her sister when they were in their 50s. The details faded over time, but the distance remained. 4 years, every family gathering came with tension and polite avoidance. But after a recent surgery reminded her how fragile life could be, Phyllis picked up the phone. They talked for an hour, not about the past, but about their grandkids, their gardens, and their memories. That call didn't erase everything, but it softened the edges. It gave them both peace they hadn't felt in years. Letting go of a grudge doesn't mean saying what happened was okay. It means deciding that your peace matters more than your pain. Number 7. Rushing to meet someone else's timeline. All throughout life, we're told there's a schedule we're supposed to follow. Graduate by this age, settle down by that age, retire at this point, find love by that point. It's a script most of us have felt pressured to perform. And if we didn't hit those marks on time, we often felt behind, as if we'd missed our chance. But after 70, that entire framework starts to fall apart. You begin to see how artificial those deadlines really were and how much joy exists outside of the so-called schedule. Henry, 82, started taking piano lessons last year. He'd always wanted to play but never had the time or the nerve to start. He worried he'd be too slow, too stiff, or just too late. But now, every morning, his fingers move across the keys with shaky determination and quiet pride. He doesn't care about mastering it. He cares about the music, the curiosity, and the feeling of doing something just for himself. After 70, you begin to understand that nothing meaningful in life has an expiration date. Love, learning, creativity, and healing, they don't stop because of a number. They expand when given room. And the truth is, rushing towards someone else's idea of success only distracts you from discovering your own. As we wrap up this video, take a moment to reflect on the 7 things we've explored. Which ones felt familiar? Which ones gave you permission to breathe a little easier, to be a little kinder to yourself? Maybe you recognize that you've already let go of some of these, or maybe this is the first time you're realizing how much unnecessary weight you've been carrying. Life after 70 is not a winding down. It's a waking up to your own voice, your own needs, your own rhythm. It's when you stop chasing things that don't serve you and start treasuring the things that do. You've earned this peace, not by avoiding hardship but by walking through it. Letting go of what doesn't matter isn't about becoming indifferent. It's about becoming intentional. It's about choosing presence over pressure, joy over judgment, and depth over distraction. And the more you embrace that, the more room you make for connection, purpose, and meaning in the years ahead. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating content to inform and inspire. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.